of the other team, went the way of inner logic. However, that was not enough for them to actually find victory through that, even despite picking up an Infernal Drake off of it. We'll see if they slip up that one time, or if this game is similar with their 100% aggression. And it looks like somebody was paying attention, because there is that Katarina banned away from the gaming, Chris.
Now, I figured a certain other champion would have been the de facto first ban to just go, all right, we were paying attention to what kind of nonsense you guys were pulling in that last game. But we'll see. Maybe if... no, that's strike 2.
Well, they go all the way to strike 3.
We'll see what happens if they guess incorrectly with their third ban here for the incoming team, Toxic Jokers.
Well, I don't want to say that they're necessarily guessing incorrectly. The only reason why is because there is the possibility that they could have a particular... Okay, there it is. Never mind. I was going to say, there's a possibility that they could let the Yorick go through and then play something like a Aatrox or a Kled or something that, if they have the jungle assistance, they can find the lead against the Yorick. And even though Yorick will still scale up super strong, if you're finding 2, 3, 4 kills on him before those first turrets go down, it just takes him so long to really come online that he's not that much of a champion. And so they could have tried some strategy against the Yorick, but they decided to play it safe, ban the Yorick away, and the Sivir taken away by Locomotive GG. Even though they played it last game, they must have a different AD carry in mind for this game.
Possibly Xayah Rakan, maybe Jinx. We're actually, looks like we're struggling a little bit on the side of Locomotive GG to figure out what they want to do. Hovering between Twisted Fate and Darius, ending up locking them both in.
So this is really spicy, because the Twisted Fate has been one of those champions that has been played more recently in the bottom lane AD carry role, and can definitely be incredibly strong, both because of the point and click CC of that gold card, as well as the sustain with the mana. However, incredibly squishy, and if you get onto the Twisted Fate, very hard for them to escape, so usually has to be paired with either a hyper support, like something of the Karma, or more engaged, something like the Nautilus, that says, you know what, sure, you can try to jump on my Twisted Fate, but you're gonna have to get through me to get to him, and I'll be the front line to make sure the Twisted Fate can land all of that damage. And then Darius in that top lane, another heavy snowball champion. Once he gets rolling, very hard to shut him down unless you just put in a huge mountain in his way. Malphite? No. But we'll see if Locomotive GG can find the same success that they found last game. And with the Xayah picked up, that's making me think that the gaming Chris might play Twisted Fate in the mid lane.
Now this is really risky though, with Xayah being picked in Phase 1, especially when Rakan is left open to be banned away in Phase 2. I really think the difference between Xayah Rakan and Xayah paired with anything else is a very significant difference. So much so that I think if Toxic Jokers ban away Rakan, that Xayah would have been much better off being something like a Jinx. But with the supports being pinched by the side of Locomotive...
Ooh. They're daring. They're literally daring Locomotive GG to pick the Rakan here. There's no way that they're not doing it. Now, the Yuumi has not been picked up either, nor banned away. So there is those options for Locomotive GG, and they pick up their jungler instead, so it still leaves their support up on the table as that final picks. The question goes to Toxic Jokers is, what are you going to grab for your supportive role as the very last pick of the game? Is it going to be the Rakan to take it away from the Xayah? Is it going to be the Yuumi for that poke? But Yuumi and Tristana, not exactly the best pairing. They grab themselves that Fizz for the mid lane. We haven't seen a Fizz in a very long time, but I'm liking that pick, especially into the slow mobility of the Twisted Fate. And what is it? Is it a support Shen? Oh, man.
It certainly looks like it. And there's the Rakan getting locked in. So we're going to have the Xayah Rakan bot lane coming through. There was a short thought going through my mind that we might see like a support Twisted Fate, because that's a really bad matchup, Twisted Fate into the Fizz. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm not liking that for the side of Locomotive there, but I really like the bot lane. The top lane could go either way. Nar's definitely going to be a
Join me
with his ranged boomerangs being spammed toward Darius.
Yeah, there's just so much right now that it's just up in the air because, as you're saying, there's a lot of lanes that are even or even slightly one-sided, but there's so many questions like that Twisted Fate versus the Fizz in the mid lane. It could very easily go in Fizz's favor, and he could just start to snowball. But again, if the Gaming Chris is not focused on actually fighting in that mid lane, but instead saying, I'm going to hard wave clear and then jump to Asylum because he is carrying that TP, the only teleport, mind you, for the side of Locomotive GG. He could be focusing instead on trying to make side lane plays, not so much concerned about that mid lane, maybe even sacrificing some plates or the mid-tier turret to get those plays off. But you also have Shen to match that mobility for the side of Toxic Jokers. If they play top lane and he's post 6, he can jump to the top side of the map. So there's some mobility, and there's still just questions around the mobility of the Lee Sin and the Olaf, because the Ragnarok that Olaf has, the Lee Sin being able to jump in and kick people. It seems like they are both semi-aggressive teams and that they want to be going forward. Olaf wants to be running forward with Ragnarok, so he wants to be going forward with the gold card. You want to have Xayah going forward with the damage and finding those roots and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, they're not exactly, their target selection needs to be on point, because if you pick the wrong person off, you pick the Shen who's going to be able to shield you up to the side of Locomotive, or if you're Toxic Jokers, the Shen can be a frontline tank for you, or the Gnar, or if Locomotive GG can get their Rakan or Olaf focused, it's really just a question of who are you picking out in these fights.
Well, I'm not even sure Locomotive can really set up an effective pick, because look at Toxic Joker's comp here. Gnar can just kind of bounce himself away. Lee Sin can ward hop away. Fizz has the troll pole. Tristana can rocket jump backward. I think we'll see a lot of forward moving rocket jumps in this game. But we have so much disengage on the side of Toxic Jokers that you almost have to hope that Twisted Fate gets a lot of gold cards, lands them, and then you have a Rakan for a knock-up into... the problem is you don't have any layered CC for Locomotive GG at that point, aside from, I believe it's Arrest from Darius?
Well,
and that's going to lock down... Apprehend, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it started with an A. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I was in the ballpark. I'll give myself credit for that. But that's only going to lock down one member, and then you have the entirety of Toxic Jokers disengaging, getting to the range that they want to be at, to then potentially re-engage into the fight. Plus, well, once Shen hits 6, he'll be ulting all over the place to help the escapes or the extended fights in Toxic Joker's favor. This is going to be a very difficult game for Locomotive, I think. But we'll see soon enough, as the spectator delay timer has just expired. So into the game we go.
Into at least the skins we go, and we'll get into game here in just a second. But you're talking about the question from Locomotive GG. I will say your analysis is much better than I for the side of Toxic Jokers, because they do have, while I was looking at their engage, they do have that disengage potential. They do have those options to back away from a fight, reset it, pick better targets, and go back in afterwards if they want to, or just say, you know what, we don't want to fight, let's just sit this one out and go to farm something else. Whereas Locomotive GG, the two things I will say that they do have is a Ghost on Darius and a Ragnaroking Olaf. And those are two things that to me are pointed out as these are champions that will absolutely force a fight to happen whether you like it or not. Ragnaroking Olaf says, look, I don't care how far you're running, I don't care what you're trying to do to CC me, I will just keep chasing you forward all day long. you put a Dead Man's Plate on the Darius, and he will keep chasing forward all day long as well. And so they could attempt to force fights if they really wanted to, but that comes at a very high risk, because if you overforce the fight, or if you dive a turret before you're really prepared to, if you can't balance the enemy team's damage, and your damage of the Twisted Fate and the Xayah don't follow up on those frontliners, the Darius and the Olaf, you could be in some significant trouble. You could be picked off, all those sorts of things, and they have run themselves a pretty heavy AD composition. Only that Twisted Fate might be going AP in the mid lane.
By our choices.
Well, that's one thing that I was about to bring up as well. I brought up the disengage factor of the Toxic Jokers, but if you kind of break formation and you don't have your ult up as Xayah or Twisted Fate for that matter, look at how many ways Toxic Jokers has to turn around the disengage that I pointed out previously into engage. You have a Lee Sin ward hopping onto a rocket jumping Tristana to just absolutely delete a Twisted Fate, which could completely circumvent the Olaf Darius front line. Plus you have Fizz, who's just as mobile, but it looks like we have a little issue with Olaf connecting into the game, so hopefully that'll sort itself out.
Yeah, he had disconnected at the very beginning of the game, had a bit of a bug spot error, so he never truly connected. Now he has reconnected, so we should be in game just shortly. However, I do want to give a huge thank you over to Jake Dragons Gaming for the resub tier 1. He is subbed for 8 months total. That is insane. And earlier tonight, Fox Nova resub tier 1 for 2 months in a row at a total of 5. Experiment 626 is on a 7-month row streak. You guys and your support for the channel is absolutely insane. While we are still waiting on this to resume in 4 seconds, going to give a couple of quick thank yous to the follows tonight: Vires, Doz, MC, Datholo, ATG Volumes, and Xiriku. I'm going to say that as best I can. Thank you guys so much for following the channel, supporting as well. You guys can tune in the future if you hit that notification bell for when we go live with more Scrim Gyms. This week, we only had 4 teams playing in the lightweight Scrim Gym, but we got some spiciness coming tomorrow with 8 big teams for the heavyweight Scrim Gym. These are Diamond and Platinum teams with a couple of Masters thrown in just for good measure to spice things up a bit. So if you're interested in more really good gameplay games, tune in tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for some really big Scrim Gyms. But this time, we got to find out who is the finals and the first winner of the first lightweight Scrim Gym, because these two teams, they got one chance to make it to the top.
Well, right now, it looks like, unlike what we see in the heavyweight Scrim Gym, with a lot of invading into the enemy side, 5 stacks going into warding expeditions, looks like both teams content to stay on their own side and just kind of get their jungler a leash and get going. It looks like Shen and Tristana are down helping Lee Sin, as Darius is helping Olaf in the top side.
So we once again have both junglers starting on the red side. We could see E-Girl on this Olaf. Last game it was the Jorvin that headed to a very quick gank at the top side of the map. This time around, a little bit slower, it actually heads to the race. There's no level 2 engage. You could see, like Falcon Halo, actually playing it very patient in the top side, waiting for the minion waves to crash, and then the last second walking in to start farming up, plus dropping that very early aggressive ward in the river to really make sure there's no chance that Ego could come to that top side and look for an early engage. So good movement there. However, that Olaf already off to a hard farm, heading towards the bottom side, maybe going for the wolves and then the blue buff.
Yeah, it looks like Olaf not going to try anything, but Lee Sin looks to be getting a little forward here. Xayah and Rakan look to be backing off as they spot Lee Sin out with the River Ward. We might see some jungle-on-jungle action in the blue buff.
Oh, and Ego actually saw the only one coming around, so they kind of knew where he was, and they're just going to kind of wave hi to each other. Mr. Tots and Beyond both going to come up as well. Well, they're going to actually go straight on. That's the rocket jump forward. They're looking for this Olaf. They found the taunt as well. Ego might be first blood. It is. It's going to go over to Mr. Tots on the supportive Shen, but he's got himself a nice tanky red buff that he can taunt and slow auto attack if he finds somebody else. They're looking to steal by the blue buff. There is still an enemy team, Twisted Fate, the Gaming Chris, around the corner. Keep in mind, this was the team Locomotive GG that won the last game in pretty stellar fashion, but that Shen, he's just gonna taunt up the Recon. This is so early. Level 2. A nice double man root from Mr. Boss. And they're not gonna find much more at the moment. However, there's a gold card from Twisted Fate, and they've got the respawn. Olaf coming on in. Axes are swinging. Unfortunately, the flash is out of 2 members of Toxic Jokers. The flash from the game, Chris to chase it as well. Lee Sin lands the Q. Is he gonna take it? The troll pull from the Fizz as Riku Duo, there it is, gonna go and ignite and steal away a 3rd kill. They can go right back for the blue buff. As when E-Girls got it down to about half health. However, they're not gonna be able to take it just yet. Wait, I think that was smited by the Olaf. Okay, yeah, so it was smited by the Olaf, did get the blue buff. However, that is still 3 kills going over Toxic Jokers.
Yeah, that's just a little bit of, I'm sitting here, and in one side I'm going, alright, Lee Sin got a little too forward, but it was actually his pathing that was like 300 IQ, and it's only because the Xayah and Rakan got a ward into the river to spot out Lee Sin, so they actually backed off thinking he was going to get ganked. And it actually, a little bit before that, Xayah and Rakan, at the beginning of the laning phase, told the enemy team where their jungler started, because they immediately went into lane, which meant they couldn't possibly have leashed on the bottom side. So Lee Sin, you know, was able to use the information that he had. Oh boy,
rocket jump, looking for the Rakan where he could try to dash away, but he's only level 2! That's going to be an explosive grenade, taking him down. Mr. Boss on the hunt, looking for Beyond. However, another rocket jump gets Travis out because she's got the reset. Gaming Chris is here with the gold card, looking for Mr. Travis, but it's still a tanky Shen. He's got that level 2 supportive item, 740. He's going to be rooted up. He shields for a little bit longer, but he's taking tons of damage. He has to dash away. Cards from Twisted Fate not going to land as he's able to get out, but they force out that TP out of the mid laner. So now the jungler has to defend the mid lane.
Yeah, this is just all going wrong for Locomotive GG, and it's all stemming from what I think was a mistake right at the very beginning of the game by Xayah and Rakan revealing themselves in lane a little too early. Like I said, they backed off, and what you saw the play thereafter, Lee Sin went to engage on where he figured the Olaf would be, and his laners gained the priority to join into that fight, while Xayah and Rakan had to walk the long way around to help Olaf, and they got there too late.
Oh, just Fizz going full forward. He's only level 5, doesn't have that level 6 yet, but he still has way more health than this corrupting potion drinking Twisted Fate in the mid lane. Ooh, Mega Gnar comes out on the top side. Falcon, Halo already backed away and already had Flash away as well. So Crayola still sitting on that Flash available. However, he burned that Ghost, so won't have that for a hard engage. At the moment, it is a 4-0 start from Toxic Jokers. Locomotive GG continuing to engage in that earlier fight, meaning that they just went down and gold. 2,000 gold lead for Toxic Jokers. But we still need to see something else out from them. We need to see them continuing to lead with this, because we know the Locomotive GG, they're not afraid of fighting, and they're pretty good at it too.
Yeah, that's very true. And one unfortunate thing for Toxic Jokers here is look at where the kills went. That Shen's 3-0-1, 100% kill participation, but I don't think that's the best spot to have that 1,000 gold from the kills. I believe he picked up First Blood and then 2 kills thereafter. I would much rather have that on Tristana, well, just about anybody else on the team in a perfect world.
Oh, we'll see what that Shen can do. I love the fact that he's also going the refillable pot to make sure that he can keep his health up. Overall farm on the bottom side, still fairly even between the two, but Lee Sin's coming around saying hi once again. He's actually down about 10 farm to the Olaf, who's healing away his top side jungle. Mega Gnar, the top side, has got some burst damage down, but once he's through that combo, there's not a whole lot else that he can do. And good backing away because the Olaf is right around the corner once again. Ult called out in the mid lane for the Fizz. He's going to troll pull on and dash in. Got some good damage. Ignite ticks through as well, but there is a Lee Sin here. That's a quick kill. A nice one going over to Riku Duo, and that is exactly who you want to have that kill on. Get the Fizz snowballing.
Yeah, absolutely. Twisted Fate was ahead when he teleported down to the bottom lane, I believe 30 to 23 in farm. And now we see just a couple moments later.
What's this happening top side? Crayola Koala losing a lot of out the top side. Keeps going forward aggressively. Maybe was hoping to land that ultimate. Get the Gnar who just come out of Mega Gnar form or was still pretty far away from Mega Gnar form. Low enough to maybe find that ultimate execute. But no Noxian Guillotine coming out. He goes down. Easy kill for Falcon Halo.
Yeah, that's just perhaps not entirely understanding the matchup, and Gnar getting a bit of a speed boost. Surprised he's not taking a free turret plate here with that massive wave in the top lane. He's more than likely going to miss out on the gold here, as a plate will fall, but Gnar not there to capitalize on it.
More concerned about backing and buying with that. So a little bit of free gold lost from the side of Toxic Jokers. But again, they are 6-0 and doing a fantastic job with about 3,000 gold, a little bit less than that. The big thing I want to say, though, is that for the most part, it seems that Locomotive GG is just not respecting them. They're making a lot of really simple mistakes and poor choices. However, we'll see if this is a poor choice. Rakan's going to find a knock-up onto 2 members, but they've already lost the Ola. The Zaya's here going to find a little bit of a root, but again, they just don't have any damage. The Fizz ultimate going to knock her up. The only one going to walk on and take down Mr. Boss as well. Happy to be able to stack up another 3 kills to the side of Toxic Jokers. They start up the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, this is just really Toxic Jokers being, quicker to the punch than Locomotive GG is. It looks like Toxic Jokers are like, all right, we're going to set up this play, and Locomotive's just not there to be able to respond to it.
Locomotives have lost so many around that blue buff, but they're going to once again fight a little bit more. Good flash there by who? Excuse me. I'm trying to figure out. That was the Lee Sin, I believe it was. No, who flashed there? That was Rakan. Oh my goodness. All right, so they lost even more. The real Tomb actually flashed forward. I was looking at the wrong side of the teams. Rakan flashed forward trying to see what he can do to engage, but Locomotive GG have lost so many members around this blue buff, and they lose even more after that last fight and a couple more spells as Rakan was trying to force it to engage.
Well, when you're behind, you gotta try to force something out. Otherwise, you just fall further behind, and then the next thing you go is, open mid, go next, FF at 15, it's, gets to a point where you really struggle to have to come back into a game.
And when you're the team that has the composition that likes to force plays and you're ahead, that is exactly where you want to be. But when you're a team that wants to engage on a team that has so much disengage like we talked about earlier, and then on top of it are behind, the only choice, it's kind of like when you're playing Leona and you're behind and you don't really have that opening to go in. You feel really bad because you kind of just have to sit back and wait for the enemy team to make a mistake. And if they don't make a critical error, there's not a whole lot that you can do. So the question at this point does not become, can Locomotive GG find their way back into the game? It's, does Toxic Jokers give them an opportunity to find a way back into the game? Because if they play it cleanly, they should have secured themselves the game at this point.
I don't know I'd go too far with that, but we see a bit of an engage in the top lane here.
We'll see if Koala can make the escape. He's got that Ghost. Lee Sin kicks him into a nice stun by the Gnar. Mega Gnar is here, but Sholish, and he's got a 2-man taunt. He's going to be taking up that turret. The Midi Gnar hops underneath that turret. Grab himself a play on the way. Why not take down the top lane? Darius, that Twisted Fate came to the top side trying to help him out, but now that mid lane turret's going to be losing a couple plays because Tristana has roamed up to grab that top lane turret. Going to be in trouble. This might be 2 turrets to the side of Toxic Jokers.
Yeah, Toxic Jokers is just asserting their dominance at this point. 10 kills up. It's only not even 5,000 gold at this point, but that's going to turn real quick as we see. It looks like the mid lane turret's going to fall first, as plate after plate are taken away from Locomotive GG.
Goodbye again. Twisted Fate not respecting that Shen. Finds the taunt, the Megadar Slam as well. That mid lane turret is down to 1 plate. However, bot lane turret, they only grabbed 2 plates off of that, and then they backed away. There was another wave that they could have tried to fight. However, there's going to be fighting the top side of the map. This Toxic Joker's going to be going back, and the Ragnarok from the Olaf. He's unstoppable, but that might silly. He goes down. Darius is fine. 1 ultimate onto the Lee Sin. It is no longer a 0 death team for Toxic Jokers. He's going to get a second onto the Shen as well. Can he find the pull on Falcon Halo? They're going to let the Gnar run away, but that is the sacrifice of the top lane turret and the mid lane turret. 2 turrets going over to Toxic Jokers as Tristana defends the bottom lane.
Yeah, that was a huge shutdown. Darius picking up a 450 gold shutdown, and then I believe a 700 gold shutdown after that. So the Noxian Guillotine paying off with a little over 1,000 gold just in the kills alone, plus the shared gold for the assists.
Darius still stepping forward aggressively, maybe looking for Falcon Halo. However, Mega Gnar is here, goes ahead and pops it, stuns, slams into the wall as well, throws out the rock. We got to fight around the Rift Herald as Lesbian Eagle is going to be just destroyed and taken down. Lee Sin, throwing out that Q, is going to miss the gaming. Chris going to be silly stepping forward, seeing if maybe he can seal away the Rift Herald, but he's pushed off by the Fizz. Gold card will mean that Riku Duo is not going to go forward any further. However, that is still that Rift Herald to the side of Toxic Jokers. And Shen TP to the bottom side as Tristana's engaging, looking for the play. Rakan gonna find a nice hook for a moment. Nice 2-man knockback with the ultimate from Tristana. However, the real tube igniting her, dropping beyond lower and lower. Then Xayah flashes forward, wanting to make it a 1-for-1. Is successful to do this at the moment, but the Shen, Mr. Tots, rooted up, can't chase forward any further. That was the last of the mana from the Xayah. 1-for-1 trade at the bottom side.
Oh, I don't think so. Lee Sin and Fizz might have something to say about that as they're trying to get over there. Oh, Lee Sin got him. Yeah.
That recall a little bit too slow for Mr. Boss to get out. Go ahead.
But yeah, I was just going to say a little bit of unfortunate positioning for the Xayah, allowing the Lee Sin to get in there and take what is a functionally 2-for-1 extended fight in that bot lane. The 1-for-1 we saw, but Shen not able to finish it off, but I think Lee Sin and Fizz both had a shot at it. Lee Sin taking the kill away. And it looks like we have ourselves a Rift Herald aimed in the bot lane.
14 kills, 2-4, still sitting at about that 4,000 gold lead. Shelly says hi to the bot lane, but they haven't been able to find the turret just yet. Rakan dashing in, not going to find the knockup, and the minions might be enough to take down the turret, but the clear is here from Locomotive GG. They're able to stop that pressing forward any further. The turret is sneeze and a half away from going down. They will force Toxic Jokers to hit those recall buttons. At least one member, Mr. Tots, is still hanging around. See if maybe he can seal away that turret.
No, I think Mr. Tots is just kind of there to stall the Xayah out enough so that they don't lose their bottom turret. 66 HP for the red side bottom turret outer compared to what looks like about 1,500 HP, and going down as Xayah is going to work on that turret.
There's the Rakan knockup. They're looking for the Shen. They found the charm as well, but here comes the Gnar. Ooh, that charm going to hold in place for a moment, but he's still looking for Mr. Bots. The shield for Rakan not going to be enough. Mr. Bots is taking down. Ignite, taking away. Shield it for a moment, but here comes the Fizz. Troll Bulls on and taunt onto the Rakan. Double kill for Riku Duo.
That was a little aggressive for being behind by 5,000 gold. You see what happens when you step forward out of vision, and especially when a Gnar teleports down, a Fizz roams down, and it's not matched by the enemy team in any way. 4-on-2, you see the results. Both Xayah and Rakan getting taken down, and it looks like this bottom side inner, as well as the mid inner, both in danger of being taken down by Toxic Jokers.
16 kills to 4. They continue to stack up. They're trying to get to that nice 10,000 gold lead. They got that mid turret down to about half as another fight might be started here. Xayah stepping forward, trying to find those feathers. Won't find a root just yet. Rakan left alone in the jungle will go down because the Fizz is on an unstoppable killing spree. 5-0-4. They have lost a couple of members, but that Fizz is right back up to a 500 gold bounty. And Locomotive GG, they've got to group, they've got to find something. But with that Mega Gnar there in that mid lane, might be in a little bit of trouble. Mr. Tots on the Shen, coming to the top side. See what he can do. Oh, Darius just ghosts his way out. He's just like, nope.
I don't know if he's ghosting his way out, more so as just trying to ghost himself back to the enemy team, but that did not work out well.
Yeah, nice knockback by that ult from Tristana. Just shoots him right backwards, saying, hold on, you can't join your team if we say nope to that. And even the Ragnarok called from the Olaf, make sure he gets out, so they lose yet another one. That Darius pretty big. However, he was starting to hold his own in that top, so you can see him shoving the Gnar underneath that turret and getting a lot of those plates in that turret very low. So they do have that Darius in a decent spot as some of these bigger items are starting to come through for them. That Twisted Fate picking up that Trinity Force. So I want to see if he actually goes AP or AD, because we really have yet to see where he's going. I was looking with that stopwatch, like he might be going AP.
Well, that looks like he might try to build a hourglass, but that also is a component of Guardian Angel now as well, I believe. So it's not really a sign one way or the other. But to correct you a little bit, it was actually Lee Sin that was trying to defend the top turret from Darius, as Gnar and...
Oh, you're right.
Fizz were the first to respond up from the mid lane to try to cut off Darius. Just a small correction, but you know, for those that may have seen it on the minimap, it was the Lee Sin that was defending, and it looks like Darius is going to try to bully off the Shen and pick up a turret in the bot lane.
Turret is very low, but the Lee Sin and Tristana are here. This is not the Gnar, this is the Lee Sin, the only one coming to the bottom side, just immediately kicking the Darius. CC locking him for the Shen taunt as well. And again, Koala, this is just 100% disrespect from Locomotive GG. These are not complicated plays, but to be that far aggressively forward to the bottom side without proper vision is just not right, and they might lose more as the Shen comes to join the Fizz around that Baron, and the Game and Chris is going to fall. Rikuduo might be in a little bit of trouble, but it's a Fizz. He can just bounce himself away, hops back in, takes himself a double kill with the Rakan looking for this talented up lesbian. They're going to take the Olaf down as well. Triple kill to the Fizz. 8-0-5. They've turned on to the Baron themselves as they ace the members of Locomotive GG.
It was definitely a desperation play from Locomotive there to send the Darius down to the bot lane, act as a distraction, try to sneak off the Baron. But I think they pulled the trigger on that just a little too early, as Fizz was able to sniff that out. And I think Locomotive had to actually wait for the Baron to spawn before they could try to sneak it away as they sacrificed Darius in the bottom side of the map. But we see a lot of the mobility from the side of Toxic Jokers as they were able to not only take down the Darius, but almost immediately respawn and turn what could have been a 4-on-Fizz fight for Locomotive into the entire rest of the team coming in and taking down the Baron.
Yeah, we talk about it in some games and some fights collapsing faster. It's a lot easier to collapse when your whole team has dashes. The Olaf's got the Ragnarok. He goes for it aggressive, shoves it on backwards to the rocket jump, but losing the turret, he'll lose his life as well. Lee Sin snipes him with that Sonic Wave, and now with that second tier turret down in the mid lane, they can look to push an inhibitor turret as well. Mr. Tots continuing to be that front line, setting up all of these engages with fantastic taunts as Gnar, Falcon Halo, solo pushing the top side against that Darius. And you're right to say earlier that it wasn't him fighting the Darius, because the moment Koala's going to be going forward aggressively, but here comes that Shen taunt. Again, the collapsing collapse. Darius is on the run. He's got the ghost. Doesn't have Dead Man's Plate yet, but he makes it back to the turret, so he's okay for now.
Oh, Fizz is kind of in the area, but it looks like Twisted Fate's going to help him out. We'll see if Fizz decides to dive. Oh, here he comes.
There it is, throwing out that ultimate. The Crab's actually not going to land on anyone, so that Manatee not going to do all that much, but Chris is still going to follow the backside as the turret shot continues to tank away and drop Mr. Tots low, but it's a Shen tank. He's got the taunt onto Olaf, forcing him to continue to chase as the Darius is going to fall because the Fizz has gone legendary. Mr. Tots' shield just going through again and again. Tristana hops in, whoa! Blasts the cone all the way out, and it's actually Olaf escaping because of the blast cone, but now the only one waiting around the corner. Is he actually going to jump over the wall? No, that would be a poor choice. Backs away, but the top lane turret's still going to be secured by Toxic Jokers.
Yeah, Chum the Waters was about the only thing that missed there for Toxic Jokers in that last play. And we already see in the chat the red side asking if it's best of 3, but unfortunately I believe this is a best of 1 for the lightweight finals here. Unless, you know, you want to make a little executive decision on the fly. And,
I was actually responding to them on Discord. They just messaged me and asked, as these are the Scrim gyms, that it's a Clash-like event. In the actual Riot Games Clash, when they were running it, it was best of 1s all the way to the finish. And so this will be a best of 1s as well. Xayah throwing out that Feather Storm, seeing what she can do. It's only going to be her falling as the unstoppable Ragnaroking Olaf chasing forward. We'll see if he can jump on beyond. It's only going to be him dropping as the members of Locomotive GG continue to make plays only to fall and die afterwards. The Rakan going to be going down as well. Triple kill for the Tristana. Is this going to be the ace? Koala up next, but no, Mr. Tot steals away what could have been a quadrant for the Tristana. Middle inhibitor going to go down. This might be the end of the game as they've got that Baron buff.
Yeah, we're going to have to hope Twisted Fate can hold out for about 15 seconds. I don't think that's really going to happen, though, as we see a Demolish proc go through. Both turrets are going to fall. The Nexus in short order. Unfortunately for Locomotive.
Lee Sin chasing all the way into the fountain. They're looking for a couple more kills. They were able to grab one and lose one on the way out. Lee Sin dying, but that is going to be the end of the game. Toxic Jokers making their way all the way to the finals and with a very nice win. 31 kills to 5 in dominating style. But again, we've talked a little bit about it throughout the entire game. A lot of that game was not necessarily a team that was in complete control, just waffle stomping the enemy team. A lot of it was off of Locomotive GG just making really poor decisions. They fought around the blue buff when they did not have the right to and did not respect the Shen taunt in the early game, and then they continued to send people without proper vision into side lanes, over push, and just got caught out time and time again. This is disrespectful play from Locomotive GG, even though some of their individual plays were pretty good.
I don't know if it's disrespectful play more so than a complete and total act of desperation.
Ooh, that could be. That's fair.
Darius just kind of trying as best he could to just get anything going. Tried the top lane, tried to force that turret down, went down to the bottom lane, tried to force that turret down. But it seemed to be like no matter what they tried to do, Toxic Jokers, with their superior mobility around the map, not so much with only the Shen ult, but we see the teleport from the Gnar, and Tristana able to rocket jump around the map almost at will, getting resets left and right. You know, it looked like Toxic Jokers just had the advantage in the numbers at every point that a team fight was going on. But I do agree that, you know, sometimes you just have to look and say, all right, I've got to give up this blue buff, live to fight another day, because, well, 3 against 1 is bad odds, and Olaf giving up that first blood in his own jungle at the blue buff just started a chain reaction of events that just spiraled the game out of control for Locomotive GG.
Yeah, it was rough one for them for sure. But either way, Toxic Jokers will be your lightweight Scrim Gym Week 1 winners. That will mean that they do get an invite to next week's games. We're going to be doing a little bit of admin discussion on some of the stuff that kind of came out tonight a little bit. But Either way, congratulations to them. And with that, we are going to call it a night, as we are trying to end it on a little bit of the earlier side. But a huge thank you to Frico for coming out and casting tonight. It was a pleasure to have you out as always. And again, looking good now that you got your webcam set up.
I don't know. I could use a little bit of a shave here, but, you know, I got to play a part at Gen Con for a bit, and I'm actually disappointed. My beard did not grow out as much as I would have liked to, so I may have to reevaluate my LARPing character that is going to come into play next week. Or I guess it would be this week, since it is Monday already. Wow, time flies when you're having fun and trying to set up for a convention.
There you go. Well, with that, we are going to take it off tonight. We're going to take off tonight. However, we are going to go ahead and raid Nightfall, which is a good friend of ours. They've got their own league set up as well, that they do a bunch of different cool stuff there. Before we do that, though, we're going to switch it over to our end credit scene. And thank you all who came out and supported one more time. As those follows coming through from Darth Gamer right now. So let's go ahead and run through these